TV YouTube channel platform and for another insightful topic, another inspirational and divine message, all at the same time. It's your favorite audio host, Arthur, Miss Whitney. If you're new, hit that like button, become a subscriber today. You won't regret it. Over here, we get into topics that can give us a lot of insight, you know what I mean, about other lives, other cultures, other people across the globe, and how their affairs affect us directly or indirectly. I'm gonna let a few more people get in the chat real quick, and then we're gonna dive right in because I just want to talk about how I've been inspired by NBA YoungBoy recently. We'll get more into it in a minute. Why his influence on young people is so important. How before he even mentioned God, you know what I'm saying? Like how I'm finna talk about today, you could tell he was just another one. Like people see that when you have a great influence on people, when it comes to sharing his pain and sorrows and turmoil, things he's gone through as a father, as a son, and even coming from the hood he comes from, right? So we're gonna dive into this. Give me 1 second. Where how I'm gonna start this clip today, y'all. I'm finna play an excerpt from an interview. It's a really quick, interview, real quick. It won't be long, but the interview is more extended. I'm just gonna play a part of this clip in an interview he did recently, where he's explaining. The interview asked him, did he have any type of religious background? Was he raised in church? And he answers the interviewer honestly, and a lot of us were shocked at what he responded. He even gives us a little clip of one of his favorite songs from church, uh, which was Yes, Jesus Loves Me. I think we all know that one. Yes, Jesus loves me. Hey, young boy, I'm just saying for you and Make It TV, we understand. And thank you for showing a little bit of your light and showing a little bit of your background when it comes to how you were grounded in faith at one point in your life. Because, see, the thing is, a lot of these celebrities, guys, started right there in churches. What do y'all think about that? Like, I just want to name a few names. Snoop Dogg, he was raised in church. Whitney Houston, Beyonce, some of the greatest y'all wouldn't even believe, you know what I'm saying, started off with a faith background. They started off grounded somewhere. I'm gonna say faith because there are different denominations, there are different walks of faith that people walk on and everything. But why do people be so shocked when some of us with the hardest lives come out and say, yeah, I believe in God, or yeah, I had a religious foundation. Yeah, I've read the Bible before. I just want one person to answer that for me. Like, why do people be shocked? It's like, if we don't have a specific image, we cannot have a strong faith in God or something. And that's just not how that works. You know what I mean? Actually, you'll be shocked. I just told y'all Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg was in the church recently. He was sitting up there speaking. I forgot what interview I saw that on. It was a short I saw on YouTube. He had on the church robe and everything. Now, I'm not with the people that's out here, just not saying Snoop Dogg is, but those that's out here just walking in the church. Uh, I hope it's not in a way of mockery. But for example, you have a lot of people that use the symbolism of the thorns, like the thorn crown that was placed on Jesus' head, and they use it for album covers and everything. And at first, I ain't gonna lie, I was one of those too that'd be like, oh, that's blasphemy, that's mockery, until just the other day. I said, no, I understand that now, actually, because when you attack somebody's mind, when you attack their crown, what do you think you're doing? You're crowning them with thorns in the first place. That's exactly what's happening when something like that happens. So I'm not saying all the like every celebrity is not guilty of maybe mocking Jesus in the crucifixion of him. I don't think everybody's coming that way with it. I think it is a symbolism that I never really paid close attention to before. Of course, we all know about how they beat Jesus, they ridiculed him, persecuted him, but really, like, when we get deep into it and think about, like, what they went and really tailored a thorn crown for this man. Just think about that. Like, who sat down and took the time? Like, yeah, I'm gonna construct this and I'm gonna make sure it's thorns all over it. I think it was more symbolism in it than we thought, because a certain type of people today, that's exactly how they. Y'all remember I did a quote just the other day. I said, in my opinion, if you have a person whole mind, you have their whole soul. That's crazy. That's why they attack their mind. You might as well have their whole life in the palm of your hand. Once you sitting there controlling somebody's mind, I mean, but that's my opinion. It makes us think. They always said knowledge is power, or the mind is a terrible thing to waste. Where do y'all think quotes like that come from? It's because it's true. The mind is like the nucleus. A lot of people think it's the heart of the human anatomy. No, the mind is. The brain controls every freaking function in our bodies. Just stop and think about it. The mind does. Even those unconscious movements and things we make when we're asleep, or boom, boom, boom. When we're even awake, nobody says breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Sometimes they have to tell me that. I get to talking so much or worried about so much, they have to say, Teta Sherry, remember to breathe. But in science, I really never have to remember to breathe. It's like the nucleus in my body, which is that brain central station. It just makes sure I breathe every day. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I agree. The mind is a terrible thing to waste. Without my mind, I'm on what they call life support. And that machine is now reminding me to breathe. That machine is now keeping that blood pumping through my body. I've never been on life support. I'm just saying, when you see people in those situations, how do they still have control of their mind? They're in the whole coma. And even in the coma, the mind is so powerful. I don't know. It's somehow they have some kind of life support system. They still be breathing and everything. And I think it's powerful. When we talk about the thorn, the crown thorn, the thorn, everybody want a crown, but everybody can't handle their crown with the thorns in it. I tell you that. And I feel like me and a man like NBA Youngboy, not on no sexual level, not on an intimate level, I'm not attracted to him in that way. I see that young man's brilliance in his mind, and I'm not the first fan. I'm just saying, I see his mind. I see his light there. And you really see a person's mind when you put all the trash and bad influence, bad environment, everything you can around them, you throw it at their mind. And you're going to see what kind of mind they got. A person who's been trained and led and guided to persevere through any struggle has a strong mind. I'll just say that. But the mind is already powerful by itself, y'all. When we born with it, because, like, look at all the things we do unconsciously. Even certain thoughts, you know what I'm saying? It shows. That one song that says it's written all over your face. It's written all over your face because it was in your mind first. You see? But anyways, I just want to clarify that with my part. Like, I learn something new every day. Like, I used to just think when people wear the crown of thorns, it was a mockery or something. Now, with some of these artists, it is like, I hate to call names, but like Little Nas X, some of these have made it very clear that they worship Satan. To me, you should never them right there, them wearing the crown of thorns for an album cover or something. Yeah, that would be blasphemy in my opinion, because it's like, you've already openly announced that you're not a follower of Christ, or you don't believe in the faith. So why would you be walking around here trying to use what he went through in any type of form of symbolism in your music, or just for an album cover? You could tell they get bored with their creativity or something. Like, that means a lot to some people. You don't just walk around here. So I might get me one, but it wouldn't be in a form of blasphemy. It would be like, no, this is a representation of something I have truly survived. That's something that I have overcame. They'll say, well, you got on a crown of thorns, Miss Whitney. And I would say, well, don't ask me questions about it unless you're ready to hear a new perception. Because what else are you doing to a person mind? Like, just look at what some of these people been through. It ain't nothing. You know what a thorn is? It's designed specifically to pierce things that try to touch it. Okay? It's definitely designed to pierce, and anything that's pierced, usually, when it's penetrated like that, fluid is about to leak, because you just pierce something. And it is deep because even our brains have a certain fluid that it comes with, but too much can make your brain swell or make your brain function a whole nother way. And then some people like Young Boy. I don't know if he had ever heard a perception like this, but I'm finna give mine on this live stream tonight. Some people like Young Boy or myself have actually survived head injuries. You see what I'm saying? Like physical head injuries. We're not even talking about the mind or the brain yet. You see? I'm just trying to open people's minds a little bit. Why is it that certain people, like with him, it might have been his head injury from when he was little? Because anybody look at Young Boy, you seen that scar on his head that he carries graciously. It looks like just a part of his, you know what I'm saying, everyday face now. But every scar has a story. Okay. Now, most people, they just get his story out of his music. If you're a fan, you know what happened to his head. It says something about he was wrestling, had an accident to where he had to wear a head brace, and I bet back then he never imagined he would be who he is today. Such a traumatic injury to your head. See, some traumas happen on accident. What you mean? You were playing outside as a kid. You were wrestling. Your head got hurt. You see, but when we look at it symbolically, look at all the attacks at your head, young man. With me, I ain't gonna lie, it was my neck. NECK. I mean, you name it. From what's that called? Where they gotta remove your tonsils. I had to have a procedure like that done as early as I had to be like 15 or 16. And it meant nothing. Kind of probably like Young Boy thought. You just thought it was an injury. You had to go to the doctor, get things fixed up, right? But I guess I can share this story for a second because, like, how many have had to have their tonsils removed? But it is, I would say, a whole neck injury. Like, that's a whole throat. That's that's a whole throat injury. Something like your tonsils. Whatever was going on with him, though, it had got so bad because we all got to eat and keep fluids in our body. Like, it got to the point where it would hurt just to swallow. I remember vividly, like, I knew it was time to go to the hospital, though, when I tried to sip some water one day through a straw and it just burned. Like, it burned so bad. It was like fire. I was like, I told my mama, I think it's time to go to the hospital. And then when we got there, right there in the emergency room, whatever they saw from the first glance at my throat, they was like, we're keeping her tonight. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't talk. I couldn't really keep any fluids. So I think they put me on an IV as soon as possible type of deal. Uh, and I even had started losing weight a little bit, just not being able to eat. I don't know, just only being able to eat soups and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I like to hear raw testimonies. Like, that probably might not be like 50 Cents, where he survived being shot multiple times and stuff like that, but it was still an experience. You know what I'm saying? And so, anyways, I remember them penetrating whatever swelling I was having in my throat. They penetrated it, and something leaked out. I think they called it a cyst, CYST. So they kept me overnight or whatever, and then the next morning they came in there to examine my throat again. But they came to examine my throat again, and what was crazy is the same area they had busted the cyst, it had grew back just overnight. The cyst grew back. It grew back, and then it there was also a few more, and the doctor was paying attention to that because he was like, how this many more cysts grow just overnight? So that's when they went ahead and made the decision. They came back in the room. They was like, yeah, we're gonna have to do surgery, something called I was diagnosed with tonsillitis or something, because back in the day I used to just get strep throat a lot. And I'm going somewhere with this because I don't think specific attacks to certain bodies, areas of our bodies, are a coincidence at all. I just don't believe that no more. But I'm finna get into why in 1 second. Cause look at young boy with the head attacks. You know, and if it's not your head per se, why is it like so many mental or psychological warfares in certain people's lives. You know what I'm saying? Where it is like their head is being attacked. You might as well put a crown of thorns on their head. And it's like they might not do that physically to some of us, but it's like, oh, we'll crown you, but we're going to crown you with burdens. We're going to crown you with depression. We're going to crown you with low self-esteem. It's crazy to think about it that way, but that's how I see it in the spirit or whatever. Um, but anyways, the surgery went successfully at the time. It was successful. They had to keep me a little longer just to make sure none of the cysts grew back at the time. And then I finally got to go home. I think after like a week, it was kind of crazy though. It was really crazy because they told me, they was just like, Miss Whitney, you probably won't have. I wasn't Miss Whitney then. I was Miss Jones. But they was like, you probably won't have any more problems with strep after this. And if you do, come on back in. Do y'all know, to this day, I've never really had a sore throat since that procedure. I'm gonna give glory to God, but I'm thankful to the doctors and stuff too. But they were right. Whatever they went in there and did, I had never struggled with sore throat. I might get a little scratchy throat at the most, and that's probably from allergies and stuff. But I know what real strep feels like. I have survived tonsillitis. I've had them removed years ago, but I do not feel like certain throat attacks or certain throat health issues coincidence, or certain head issues. If a person has had trauma in the same area of their body more than once, that's not a coincidence. But that's just my opinion. If I was actually in my future, I'm supposed to be a great speaker or a great singer. Look at NBA YoungBoy. He's a rapper, right? Why wouldn't an enemy want to attack your head at an early age? Because it's him who was writing and producing his own music at first. I don't know if it's still just him. I didn't say I'm going to get all that part accurate. I'm here to look at the spiritual significances with this. You know what I'm saying? And that's crazy. Like, before you even 16, bro, you had a head injury that really could have did more damage, you know? And it's many more people I could use for example, but I'm gonna stop right there. Like, I was talking about my little daughter just the other day, how I was told before she was even one, she might not talk just because of how her tongue was made, literally. And this baby talk better than most of y'all today. She's a teenager now, but baby, if that's one thing she does have is a voice. Now, I was just saying how I feel like the devil sees some of our gifts at an early age. Like, he see it before we do. It's crazy. He see if you're gonna be a beauty queen one day or a speaker one day. Why not attack your throat? Anything that has to do with the voice. You see what I'm saying? Anything that has to do with speaking. If I can make you nervous to speak, or if I can make you insecure in your own language, if I can make people think that your voice is something is wrong with it, like with mine, they would always say it carries, right? Some people, when they first hear me on the phone, let's say like an interview versus them meeting me in person, we have actually laughed about that before. They'd be like, man, I ain't gonna say a specific interviewer said it like this before, but it does come up in its own ways. It's like, they'll tell me I look way different or in person than what I sound like, literally, like via audio or over the phone. Like, maybe my voice just carries, like, so it would make it sound like I'm a more heavier person, like I carry more weight or something. But no, my voice is just heavy like this, and I'm not gonna try to sound like a baby cat just to sound more feminine. I do think it's cute on the women who do have the little baby squeaky voices. I've never hated on it. I just know that mine, if it carries, if it's heavy the way that it is, it's supposed to be just how it is. That's not something I'm like insecure about, you know? Sorry, y'all. I am finna play this clip though, so y'all can hear the interview. Y'all like, she's still going and ain't played what Young Boy said. Yeah, I'm finna play it right now. But I had to get that part out to show another perception, how certain body attacks, I wish people would pay more attention to it. If the devil, they say he attack where he know you finna be blessed. He attacking your feet because you probably finna be like Sojourner Truth or somebody, you might have to lead people somewhere like Moses with your feet. You don't know why the devil don't want you to have your feet. You see what I'm saying? Or he attacking your hands is probably because you were going to be a great writer one day. They just give up at the attack. And it's, if we pay closer attention to the attacks, you can almost see where God wants to work and use you in your life for His glory. That's all I was saying. So let me play this interview real quick. Did you grow up in church?
I sing in the choir. After I sing, I begged my grandmother for the ask the pastor, can I become an usher? They let me become the usher. So as the people walk in the church, I get to sing.
So you're a choir boy and an usher?
Yeah.
Did you sing solos?
I sing with the choir.
You sing with the choir? Who's one of the first songs you sang with the choir? Like, who's your favorite one that you still remember?
Yes, Jesus loves me.
Sometimes you need that to get you through the day. You gotta remember it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel bro on that. So I'm going to pause that interview real quick. Y'all say, the interview said, what's the most song you remember from back then? And that just touched me. I'm sorry. He said, yes, Jesus loves me. And if one artist would come out on a public interview and say, yes, I remember that song carried me through sometimes. That song to this day is instilled in my soul. It touched me. If nobody else paid attention to what he said he actually asked to be a usher back then. You know, he wanted to be more involved in the affairs. And some of us coming from black culture, that's how it was. You know, you was raised in church, you know, and you wanted to be involved. Or some people didn't want to be. You know how grandma make you get up there, get in that choir. But he said people were shocked to hear that. They didn't know he started in a choir, but that is a big detail. You're a whole rapper today. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing wrong with being letting that part of your career show too. Like, hey, maybe I did not start in the rap arena. You see what I'm saying? Even with me, I was saying that on the stream the other day. I was in competition choir myself. I sure was. We went to state competition. People think choirs is just from the church or something, or from the cathedrals and the temples. That's not. No, they have whole state competition choirs. Okay. That's what I was saying when it comes to these big colleges too, right? Mostly you just kind of hear about the bands and the football teams and the doctor programs they have. It's like, no, dig a little deeper. You're going to find out some of these universities have whole choirs. They compete. You know, it's like the school choir. Shout out to, it made me think of the movie Lean on Me really quick with Morgan Freeman. That's a true story, by the way. If anybody was thinking of a great movie recommendation just for tonight or tomorrow, this weekend or something, that's always a good one to go back and watch, especially in times like today. The school system been so back and forth with itself, people don't know what's going on anymore. So when any teacher or principal or leader in the schools needs some inspiration, just go watch Lean on Me. I'm not even being funny. Like, do you know why Mr. Joe Clark was called into that school to do what he had to do? Okay, so it still matters today, but back then it was a big deal. Like the test scores, not just in your district, but at a specific school. They actually break down these scores by geographical locations, and that's what kind of tells the story if a certain area is not thriving as much as it should as far as test scores. And back then, apparently, it meant more to the states. You know, they were willing to call in another man to try to come help them settle down the kids and stuff. They were so crazy at their school. What was it? Eastside High. And it is a beautiful story. You know what I'm saying? It's like, where are those people today? Who been called lately? I'm talking about as a backup teacher, principal, or substitute, anything, and said, hey, we could use some assistance up here. People are just prideful today. If anything, I've been hearing the teachers say they quit, or they just can't handle it, or, they got to put the blame on the parents. That ain't what you seen Mr. Joe Clark doing, not in that movie or in his real story. He was more the type of principal to actually come to, first of all, the students could trust him. He built relationships with them in a way that he didn't win their trust through just being Mr. Nice Guy and the yes man either. He was able to relate to where a lot of those young kids had came from. And that's why that's a big highlight in that movie when the girl Kanisha comes to him and say, look, I'm pregnant. I'm scared to tell my mama. That baby had to been only 14, 15 years old, you know. And he was a whole man. He went to the mama house. Him, the school counselor, they got in a car with that baby. And they would go visit the homes of the students to see where it is that that student might be lacking, where they could help. And the movie make us cry to this day because it's like he didn't even have all the funding he needed to turn his school around, but here he was concerned about students in their private lives. You know what I mean? The other one was Samuel. Y'all remember him? The one kept running with the wrong crowd and getting caught up in drugs, but Mr. Clark was known for actually putting the kids out of school. That was the problem. He was not about to sacrifice the test scores and the educational futures and opportunities of other students just because it was a bad group in it. And it was a pretty big bad group, y'all. Like, pretty much, if you think about the early 90s, late 80s, it was a lot of gang and drug activity going around in what you would call the hood towns. But even in the hood, don't y'all know it's schools there? I'm tired of people downplaying the hood. They're a community just like anywhere else. They have schools there. They have grocery shops there. They have just about anything you have in any other neighborhood. And that's why I don't like when people downplay the hood or the hood kids or the hood. That's where I'm like, now wait a minute. They also have schools. They also have test scores to submit every year. So how you just gonna call it the hood? And then say, well, the test scores are low because of, it's the hood, and they've just gotten away with it for so long. You know what I mean? I pray for a day we see more love in the hood than we ever did. We probably ain't gonna never see it in the streets, but the hood can't help that it's a hood. Why do we call it a hood? It's the last four letters of the word neighborhood. All right. So what's my main conclusion point? I knew it. When I was watching that interview, I was one of those like, I knew it. I know a chosen one when I see it. Not to try to be funny, but because there are a lot of artists and actors, actresses, anybody in the industry that ain't funny to nobody, that a lot of them was raised in church. We would know obvious ones like Kirk Franklin or some of the gospel artists. They were raised in church. I'm just tired of people walking around here like their sins. That's the first thing Jesus told them. That's why they put the crown of thorns on his head. What you mean? He told them, let you without sin first cast the first stone. We live in a day today. They stoning people, y'all, just because they're not digging a ditch and throwing us in the ditch. And throwing the stones don't mean it ain't still going on. They found a new method to stone us. They found a new method to hang us on the cross too. Everything you can name of that was evil, the devil never stopped doing it. He just found new ways to do it. I'm telling y'all, he's still stoning people. He like, yep, we caught that person in the sin. Come on, let's all get together and get a big stone and throw it at her. That's how it feels to me anyway. And I know Young Boy knows the feeling. Once they are in the big headlights and media like that, they definitely get stoned. It's like they can't make one mistake. Shout out to my boy Kodak Black too, though. What I was noticing is like, bro, right when you get a new girlfriend, he was doing good, coming out with more music. They trying to stone him too, I noticed. It's stupid. Every time he looked to be doing a little more healthy or better for himself, you hear another case. You hear another, like, come on, bro. Not Young Boy, Kodak Black. Because free him. I heard he got arrested again. right after this new girlfriend he had. And I'm not trying to be funny. She was of a different culture and race. Like, come on, bro. How obvious is that? Y'all couldn't even wait 2 years for them being together. The boy's already back in jail. And it just doesn't look good. And they want to say, well, they must be lacking something when they're single. No, we must pretty much just love our freedom. You're not just finna send in boyfriends and mates all the time to try to see how a person is. See, the stigma is that you're more vulnerable with somebody that you feel like you're dating or that likes you or that's in love with you. You're going to tell them all your secrets. So I just want the young artists out there to be a little more careful, be a little more vigilant. You already have your team, your agents, your bodyguard, all these people that's walking around with you. You got to be careful letting anybody else in closer. I was teaching my kids, some of these rich kids, they don't have no new one. It's day ones and that's it. They parents, they have a group of friends they've been knowing since they was little, and that's who they know all their life. Until they start probably making business connections on their own. I brought it up to my kids as a teaching lesson because I'm on that with no money. So they be confused, like, why are you so picky about our friends? I'm like, we don't have to have money for me to be teaching y'all that already. You know what I'm saying? That way it's not such a big transition, such a shock to them if my life were to change at any given moment, and you do have to watch that. You see what I'm saying? But I see why they be like that. Y'all think Kim Kardashian daughter just running around here with anybody kids? Think again. You can't just get close to her and Kanye West's daughter like that. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We love you guys. If you're a Young Boy fan, type YB in the chat. We love him. And I'm just happy that he was transparent on this interview and brought that out, because how many artists do you hear doing it today? Like, they might go back to their past a little bit and talk about their mama, daddy, grandma and stuff, but do they ever bring up like, yeah, I had faith before. I had faith before. I used to sing in the choir. I was an usher. That's what bro said on the interview. For y'all that missed it, just rewind the live. I did just play it a second ago. Just a little excerpt from the interview, okay? I'm not going to play it again, but it is at the beginning of the stream, and y'all can go check it out on your own, too. I thought it was... it needs to go viral. Make that go viral. As soon as you see him beefing with some more YNs, they want to make that kind of stuff go viral. And we're tired of it. But when they say something positive, here come the devil. I'm telling you, they still stoning people just with new methods. Let me get back on that topic of what I was saying. They're also still crowning people with thorns. All you got to do is pay attention. You know, they don't want your thorn to look too luxurious, because they could have put any crown on Jesus. If he said, I'm the Messiah, my kingdom is not of this world, none of your crowns was going to be sufficient enough anyway. But out of all that they could have chose, somebody, it just makes me laugh. Not because it's funny, it's just that, like, I laugh now, I get tickled at seeing the depths of people anger. Like, some anger you can understand. You'd be like, I'd be mad too. Some anger, it makes you laugh because you be like, that's what a person was mad at? You see what I'm saying? And it's funny to think somebody actually took the time to sit there with a vine of thorns and create a whole, like, they literally took their time out to do that. Wasn't no hot glue guns back then, so how did they mold it together and shape it together? Well, we saw. They figured out a way. And they made sure it was the precise size for his head, too. So just as much as it makes me laugh to think about it, it makes me cry, too. Because I see that in a symbolic way. It's like you want to use old culturistic abuse patterns on other people in a modern day time. And I can see that, especially me. When I read the Bible, I wasn't one of those like, oh, I don't understand this. That's when I knew it was for me, because it's like I could understand it. It was like I was reading another language, but nothing had ever made more sense, you know? Maybe because I related to it a lot. Like, it wasn't about the names. They like, well, there's a Daniel in every culture. There's a David and a John. How do we know these people were real? Well, you know, it's not so much about the names of the prophets and people of God in the Bible to me. It's their experiences that I read, READ. Read both spiritually, parabolic, symbolically, and metaphorically, however you can read it. I read it like that. But they actually did. The practice of stoning is so real, so I'm not playing with people about that when I feel like they're doing it to me. That's why I'm quiet. Who's ever said anything while they're being stoned? They're being stoned to death. Where is their time to say anything? Like, hey, stop, please, this hurts. What? And they weren't like little pebbles. I'm not trying to, that's why I said this stream is probably not for kids, because I'm getting into some deep topics tonight. Not my channel. My channel is for everybody. I'm saying this particular topic, what I see out of this. Y'all know what a head brace is? He had to have one of those when he was little. NBA YoungBoy. He had to have one of those. It made me think of that one boxing movie, not Rocky. It was one where y'all ain't seen that movie where the man had that head thing on. It was like a square, like the whole metal plates and everything, and he literally built his body back into shape to get back there and box again. I don't know what the name. I know it wasn't Rocky. They think Rocky is a powerful boxing movie. I'm not as old as some other people, but this one I'm thinking about, it was probably came out in the 90s. But the boy had on, even his coach thought he was crazy. Like, you can't get back out here. Wait till you heal up. See, I'm one of those too. I'm walking around in braces, all kind of places, healing in the spirit from different things. But then the coach is saying, you need to sit down and rest. No, I'm so mad with these braces on, I'm finna practice like this. I'd be out there still jogging and walking around and everything. And they said I need to go sit down and heal. But and it was a true story. Y'all can look it up. If somebody know the name of it, put it in the chat. But it's a movie about a young man. That was where his injury was specifically. It was like from the neck up. So that is very dangerous. His coach was telling him right. I didn't say my coaches in life ain't telling me right. I'm just saying some people are that determined. And it's unheard of almost. That's how rare it is. For you to be in a, you just lost both of your legs, but you say, I still want to run the 1,000-mile K run walk next week. And some people do those long, what are those mile K runs? They do them with prosthetic legs. So, that's all it is. I just think Gen X, millennials, Gen Zs, we're facing some things where it's like people, we are aware of what it takes to survive out here today. We are the generation that's surviving it. And it will forever be crazy to me. It's kind of like putting trying to constantly put caution tape right there and say, y'all can't go further than this. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's in the music industry, in the acting world, anything we could be doing. It's like they try to put a line right there, like, okay, that's enough. You're gonna hurt yourself. We know better. We're the elders. We listening to the elders. Y'all didn't hear what my boy YB said? His elder is the one who had him in church. But not even his elder can deny that he was the one who went further. You just raised him somewhere. You raised him under certain morals and ethics, and you taught him everything you could. Most of our elders did. It's like the devil wants them blinded to the fact that really, how can you say you didn't do a good job with a person and they end up passing milestones you never even imagined? Did y'all hear what I said? How can you instill such good teachings? That's why I can never talk enough right now. The ages my girls are, but you just pray that one day, no matter what milestone they surpass you at, that some of those ethics and morals that you implemented in their lives, because some people don't have anybody telling them anything positive. What do y'all mean? The young boy did, he had his grandma, mother, the people he had, but let's really think about the young people right now that might not have any type of positive influence around them. And the little bit they have, somebody out there trying to fight them for that. And I'm sick of seeing it. But then you want to put the whole weight of how the world is today on the young people. Make that make sense. They was all raised and started somewhere, okay? And I could never envy a young person who I know I just instilled the morals and principles in them and the ethics. But if they start really passing milestones and surpassing things that I did, me personally as a human being, I would be nothing but proud. That's why YB family, NBA Youngboy family is proud. They ain't got time to be slowing down saying, well, we raised him in church, but he rapping. That ain't what they saying. They are proud to have new houses and cars and everything their life is. All the grandbabies they got that he gave them and everything. They proud of him. And we should see more of that in the black community, in communities altogether. When you see your young people doing more than you ever had access to do. And that's one they try to downplay a lot, but they get mad at me for bringing up. Yes, we have the internet. Y'all didn't have the internet. I'll start there. That ain't even saying we successful with it or what are we doing with it yet. No, not every young person is out there boxing and act stupid on social media. Some of them are actually doing productive things. They're not only do they have access to something their elders didn't have access to, at our ages, we're actually like trying to stretch it. Like, look what they made it into. You see what I'm saying? Look what they doing with it, right? Like, why ain't nobody clapping their hands? I'm not saying for you with Make It TV. I'm saying in general, for our young people, make sure we're clapping our hands because we are quick to shed light on, oh, Krishan Rock can't take care of her baby, or Kodak Black is on drugs and in and out of jail. Look how quick they mediatize that stuff, boy. People can't wait to catch your downfall on camera. I mean, it's gotten bad. I mean, they want to catch you fall. And I don't mean like in their arms. They want to catch you on Snapchat falling on the ground. Falling out of the ring. Falling out of any arena you could be fighting in, you know. And it's like, how do you expect me to listen to you about knowledge, about the civil rights and women's movement rights, everything America has been through, but you still got people trying to place thresholds in certain places on certain communities? It has to stop. The old way, what did I say? You can still stone people without a stone. I can break it down too, like how it's possible. You can still crown somebody with a head of thorns, crown of thorns, without physically doing it. And it's like, once people caught on to that, I don't know who it was, but once they caught on to that, they took advantage and ran from it. You can abuse somebody without even touching them. Did y'all know that? So how you gonna tell me you can't stone somebody? It's just an old practice. The thing about stoning, it's always a group of them. I don't know why. They never just let one person, the king, stand there and stone somebody. That's not how stoning age worked. You remember they call it the Stone Age? Y'all might say they have nothing to do with the other. Well, I should have titled this the Stone Age. I might do another topic because this is the Stone Age. They will get up with a group and everybody got a stone before you even know what's going on. They already got you in a ditch. And I'm tired. You're not going to sit there and compare somebody in a ditch being stoned to somebody who's just standing there. They're not even in that situation. You can't compare yourself to that type of person. That person is being stoned, still lifting weights. And it's unheard of. That person being crowned with a crown, and still thinking her way out of situation. You can't compare yourself to that. Now, if you just have what I say, we all born with a mind. We all born with a powerful brain. That's something God gave us, like, and I call it the nucleus center. They always talk about what's the nucleus of a cell. I mean, you know, what's the center of the cell? Where's the nucleus located? That's because we were taught in school the nucleus is the function center. That controls everything else. You tell everything else what to do. You keep everything in line. And even our minds have that. Then you got the devil coming in like, well, I want to know why God gave everybody a mind. It's just not your business. It's not your business. And it's something bigger than you. So since he can't understand why God gave everybody a mind, he go out here and try to artificially create something that resembles the mind. You see? And you can actually talk to it. I caught my daughter having a whole conversation with Google one day. She must have been bored. So I didn't interfere. I was just kind of, you know, our kids don't know we be listening to them sometimes or watching them in moments that And love caused me to do that. Not being nosy, just kind of, I didn't even mean to walk on there. One day she was sitting all alone, just like, Google, what is? Google, how big is the sun? Google, and she asked it like a million questions. Google was just answering it back. He said, Google, how you doing today? The Google answered back. Just talking about some of these AI features. I was giving my own like personal, little experience with that, and I know that it can generate an answer in like 5.5 seconds, but if we generate an answer in 5 seconds, they call us a smartass, like, no, we were the original mind. We're the original brain function. If I can't answer in 5 seconds and Google can, I'm worried. I actually am. You can say, Google, how was your day? Go ask it right now. Go ask Alexa, any of these AI things that can talk back to you. You can ask it like it's a person. Like, how was your day? How tall are you? It will try to answer it the best that it can. Like, oh, I don't have a height or a weight. I'm an AI. I'm an AI voice, sweetie. And it was scary. God had me see it for God had me see it for a reason to me, because I don't know how long my daughter had been doing it. And you can do that from a tablet, a laptop, any device that has Ask Google, you see? But I've been like, okay, so how long have you been getting along all alone by yourself, just talking to Google like it's your friend like this? You know what I mean? Which I'm not mad at her, because Google's my friend. And people think I'm just never going to feel lonely. I don't care how many people stoning me. As long as Google, Ask Google exists, how am I lonely? I can ask it anything I want to. It even have an AI therapy. I forgot what it's called. It's like this avatar, because I had it before, but it didn't go far. I probably used it like 2 days, But I'm just going to tell my little experience with it. It's literally a person that you can, like an avatar, you can create it. Do you want it to be a woman, a man? It's like a companion. And it would check on me like, hey, how are you feeling? And what are you doing? And stuff like that. And we would just, it's like a chat box. You could just talk to it. And it was just crazy, because it'll pop up notifications like, hey, I haven't heard from you today. That was, I ain't gonna say eons ago. For me, eons, because I just talk like that. But probably some years ago since I've used something like that, I'm gonna give one more testimony, because YB started this. He was talking about the church and how some of us grew up there. And that's like some of our, if you want to call it foundation, call it that. But this was our first introduction to love and community and, like-mindedness, okay? Not in a studio with some other rappers. Not on YouTube with some other YouTubers. That's just not where some of us were grounded. That's not where we were founded either. That's who saw us first. Them people, But all I was saying with his experience, it's beautiful to see that, yeah, ain't nobody wrote you off or washed their hands with you just because you chose like rap as your career. They still proud of him. He probably bought mom and grandma the biggest house they ever had in their life, but they raised him in what they could afford. And I keep my kids dreaming big that way, because it's very possible. Somebody said, well, Miss Whitney, your kids don't owe you nothing when they grow up. I did. I had this touchy topic conversation with somebody one day, because I think she misunderstood where I was coming from. Like, no, sweetie, I know they don't owe me nothing when they grow up, but isn't that should be? And what's crazy, this lady was older than me. I like talking to people though, like getting their opinions. That's what I was saying. People could have did that to me a long time ago. They just wanted to, that's going back to that Stone Age stuff. They just wanted to, no, this is how she is. You can't hold a conversation with, well, maybe you can't hold a conversation with me, but I can write a book and you can leave a review. I can do podcasts like these and you can, respond or get on stage with me. I've never not been a welcoming person. That's crazy. They say, well, she don't welcome people in her home. She's hiding something. That's when I knew I had made it. I said, I have now received my crown of thorns, because now y'all just playing with my head. And the last I checked, I don't have to let anybody in my home. I don't even have to answer the door if I don't want to. I don't have to give out the address. I've been learning a lot. And because that's that word, learning. There's another movie called Higher Learning. I didn't speak on that one. I spoke on Lean on Me, but it's a crown of thorns, any type of mental attack at your first mind. Think about it, your first mind. They be like, I should have went with my first mind. Why do people say that? Your first mind is usually right. Okay, so your first mind said, I ain't answering this phone, I ain't answering the door. I ain't doing none of these they talking about. You see what I'm saying? And then you open the door one day and you wonder how the snake got in your house. Nobody has time for that. The young people ain't wrong here. It's just that we are surpassing a few thresholds, right? We can't help it. It is 2025. We have more access. We had resources. We had connections. We had the internet. We have just opportunities. Literally. A felon today can go do, whereas a felon back in the day, it was almost impossible for them to survive. I hate to use that for an example, but this is the real about it. It's been felons get out, start big trucking companies. They're doing all kind of things. But I'm on the threshold level of this topic where it seems like that. Like when I first said it, I got enemies for saying it. So let me try to reword how I'm saying it, but I still mean the same thing. It seems like there are still a group of people who envy the thresholds that we are crossing today. Period. I know some of the artists and rappers are going through it too. That's why they said the top is lonely, man. They really did say that. That's a quote I agree with. Now, some of them I don't agree with. You see, I feel like they're outdated. But that one, there might be something to that. But we should ask ourselves, why? Why in the hell is it lonely at the top? Because the toppest place I ever known existed was the heavens. And I've never heard that God was lonely there. I never heard that it's a lonely place. But here on earth, they say the top is lonely. You're going to be lonely up there. Anyways, why? Because you reached a certain threshold in income? Somebody just funny to me. I don't know. Why is the top lonely? Because you now wear a different brand of clothes. You now eat. You got a mansion now. So I'm still on the middle of the fence. I said, well, God, I just want to be on top of my circumstances. I ain't trying to sit on top of the world or nothing. I'm not trying to sit on top of nobody either. I just want to be at the top of what was once on top of me, because we know that kind of pressure is not easy. But some of us and young people, we are all too familiar with it. You know what I'm saying? Just carrying weights that shouldn't even be ours on our shoulders. Now, anybody out here, like Boosie said, if you got kids, take care of them, okay? Handle your business. That's Boosie words. That's a weight that should be on your shoulders. What they want to do is play this crown of thorn game, and no, these are your weights, not your kids. You don't need your kids. These are what you need. I don't see through that. No, my kids are actually weights that I'm proud of. I'll lift every day for the rest of my life if I have to, by myself. But you're not going to bring other thorns and see where you can penetrate my brain with it at. That's crazy, man, because, even stoned, some people back then was caught off guard with that, too. That's just your penalty. That's what they felt like you deserve. You deserve to be stoned. It's a million ways to die, but so think about how angry people have to be to decide that, that's why it make me laugh. We need a ditch. How tall is she? 5'2". Okay, we need a ditch, and everybody has to be there at 3:00 so we can all stone her. It sounds crazy. I'm kind of glad that it's a done away with punishment, but in some countries, unfortunately, they do still stone people. That's why, like, I'm not going to look at anybody in America as God ever, because America just have it too good for me to do that. Um, some of these people would not survive places where their laws is that. See, some of these places, if they caught you stealing in the market and stuff, they chop your hand off, a finger, and you could be a child. They would chop your hand off, and they said I was crazy. No, I'm educating my children. I want them to know there is a bigger world out here than America. Yes, we love our American rappers. We love our American artists. We love our American TV shows, whatever, our American cars and pets. But there is a bigger world. You're not going to tell me I'm teaching my kids wrong for telling them that. It's a bigger world out here, and more cultures that practice punishments a whole nother way. Every culture's punishment system is different. So anyways, I had made up in my mind, no matter when I did, I said, look, I don't care what the generational thing used to be. I don't feel like I should have to touch anybody. First of all, just because they disobeyed me. I know this is a touchy topic with some people and they're not going to agree with me, but that's what I feel. Like, I should not have to spank your butt, and I don't even want to start accustoming your mind around it. Not my kids. So I shouldn't have to pop your butt. But you know what? My little 2-year-old, boy, the terrible twos have been kicking in. So I have to remind myself she can't help it. But sometimes just so they don't hurt themselves, and they really need to get that lesson. Like, hey, when you climb on the table, I'm going to pop your little hiney or your hand because mommy would be, baby, I'm going to be more hurt than you. You hurt yourself jumping off this table. This table is 5 feet off the floor. So you kind of want to get a message across, or a discipline that works, because you know that that's dangerous. You don't want to see somebody you love go off of the end, if you will. But I said, God, that just ain't in me. I don't want to corporally punish anybody. I don't want to be out here spanking and whooping people, because I hate to put this out here to y'all. What God showed me today, it was really in a dream. I was like, should I say that? Yeah, just say he showed you, because people get real technical. Like, how did you see it? Was it in a vision or flash of sight? Trust me. When I tell you how I see things, you're going to know it's God. But this segment is not for that right now, because it's not just always dreams. You know what I'm saying? If you are looking for direction in this life, even if it's not a human being around you to lead and guide you, God is very real. I'm going to say that much. It was like he showed me people trying to whoop people like they kids with magic wands. WANDS. Like, okay, I can't touch you, you grown, so I'm gonna whoop you with my wand. That's how he showed me. And it was easy for me to catch on to the revelation, because I already felt that way. Like, why do you have to spank somebody, whip somebody, whoop their whole butt for them to understand you? Something is wrong with your way of communication, if you ask me. Or it shows like people really have an anger temper. Like, we always were taught you don't whoop a kid angry anyway. But some of these parents just like, I don't even think it'd be for discipline. They just ready to whoop somebody. I don't know. Or they want to show, I whoop mine. See, we all got different opinions. That's all. And they feel like, well, if you from our culture and you said something different, we're finna stone you. I'm telling you, like, it's some type of whipping, stone, abuse through the course of history in the black culture, just for people to get their message across. And I know it might not ever change, but you see in the Bible, it talks about these times where he actually allows his people to go into bondage to feel how certain things feel too. And I'm not saying the two have a correlation, but black people have been on both sides of it though. You see, I ain't gonna say black people, God's people. Extending the punishment and also receiving the punishment. For example, imagine trying to be a slave. You already a slave. I ain't gonna say trying to be, but trying to be the best slave so you don't get a whooping right there on the plantations. Because if you made a mistake, yeah, there was corporal punishment behind it. Some plantations may have been more lenient than others, but these are just the facts about history that I think about. Okay, so how do you expect somebody that's already a slave to perfectly parent their child? They don't know when they finna get whipped again. They don't know when when the next blow coming, really. They don't know if they finna do something that just piss massa off, but they got 5 kids to raise. Like, come on, bro, make that make sense. But somehow, this is where I do give respect, honor, where it's due. Imagine being a slave in the hot sun all the time or in the cold. They still had to work in the cold. Y'all say how they was working. There wasn't no harvest in the cold. They still had them people out there doing stuff in the freezing winter cold too. Okay? Them people get frostbite sometimes. They got to go fish and do all kind of stuff. But the summers had to be brutal. So back to what I was saying. How are you being whipped left and right every which way every time you do something, and then you got to go face your children in the face at the end of the night? And they saying, Mama, what's wrong with your back? And you trying to hide it from them. I'm all right, baby, guys. But that kid saw what Master just did to you. That kid is now in an even higher state of fear because they saw what you just did to their mama. And this how the cycle kept going on. So yes, I believe in the biblical text that says, train up a child in the way they should go and they shall not depart from it. That's number one. Even Mr. NBA Youngboy himself said, hey, I remember that song. Yes, Jesus loves me. He touched me, man. That's me personally. He touched me like, wow. You know what I'm saying? If nobody else heard you, bro, I did. And it did. Your words powerfully impacted somebody on today. You see how powerful words can be used to edify and build somebody back up, just like they can break somebody down. But I had to try to show it like that, or maybe I'll try to create a AI image of what I vision when I see that you being enslaved already, and then they think they finna well, you're not watching the kids right. What are your kids' diets? They probably was doing that to them back then. How you gonna judge how they parent theirs out there in the slave shack and you in the mansion over there, right in front of them? The mansion went down the street or around the corner. Like today, we all got different addresses. If you was on the plantation, that was your home. You just outside in the shack. And imagine you still trying to instill all the positive morals and ethics and disciplines and teachings of the world in your children as you're living through that. You see, I would say them were some of the. That's why over time the generations begin to advance, and it's like, hey, eventually somebody said, hey, we need to stand up for our civil rights. We need to, they did something. Many lost their lives just trying to run away, showing people this is what I think we should do. Run away. Just run from it. But we know running that's not really the same as whole laws being changed so that you are looked at and treated as equal. Period. And it's just time we talk about this, because we just lost the other brother, Malcolm Jamal, right? Another one who was just trying to simply extend this same kind of message in a way. And his podcast was called, what is it called? I know it's NAH, N-A-H. I was trying to remember what the acronym stand for, but Not Another Hood. What is it called? Oh, Not All Hood. Not All Hood is the name of it. All I'm trying to say, like, certain things is hood mentality. To me, it takes somebody who's actually been in that state of mind to know that a hood mentality is very real. And they said, stop trying to preach to them. That's like you telling me to help me stone them with you. I'm not finna do that. I've never been known in life to stone somebody. Actually, it was so funny. One day somebody was trying to stone me with some words, and God told the person right there in front of me. I didn't have to say anything. It's funny. It was like I was channeling. Let me correct myself. I didn't even know I was channeling. I didn't know I was channeling in that moment. I really didn't. I don't know if the person will remember this, but the person just really was, it ain't even about cussing me out or saying, it was what the was trying to take the conversation to, like, okay, so as that person was doing it, my daughter was way smaller at the time. My not my youngest daughter, she wasn't even here yet. My daughter before her. Just so happened in that moment, while the brother was coming at me with whatever words, I had to tell her, because, you know, if a baby throwing rocks hit somebody's car, it could hit somebody's window. She was just having fun, playing by herself, because me and this adult is talking. But I was talking to her, but it was crazy how spiritually, it was like I was channeling, talking to him at the same time. It was crazy, like literally in that moment while he was doing it, I said, hey, baby, don't throw no stones. Don't throw no more stones. And even he stopped talking. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. Even if that person did, it meant something to me. I was like, even seeing myself in that moment and didn't even see it. And I was seeing the person who was speaking to me the way that he was speaking to me. And I told my daughter, I said, hey, stop throwing those stones. And I'm talking to her. I said, throw another stone. It was like that. It was like literally like something or somebody was channeling through me, talking to that grown man too. Like, don't throw another stone at her, because I heard what you're doing with your words. You know, sometimes it's just getting your message out. And that communication is a big deal, because coming from where we come from, they used to be whipped for reading and writing. So how are we going to communicate anything? And anything that resembles somebody trying to make it challenging or difficult for me to read and write, I'm going to challenge it for the rest of my life. Just knowing my history. Don't try to make how I communicate look nothing, when once upon a time we wasn't even allowed to read and write over here. And I only take it there not to be a quote unquote smart ass or to be a challenge to everybody or a rebel. It's just like my way of protecting myself. Do I know my rights? Do I know where I come from? You know, of course, when you frustrated, I'm frustrated. It feel the same way. But it would show who's been a little more trained to communicate through their frustrations versus another person. They trying to make that not matter. No, it matters. It matters so much to me. I'm even teaching my kids right now, like, I want you to be able to communicate with me. How can money buy it? What, I'm supposed to give you enough money to communicate with me properly? No, that's just a skill I want you to have in this life, because somebody can try to use it against you. Well, she wasn't able to communicate it. She must didn't have nothing to say. That's crazy. Do you know where black people come from? Did they come from a community, a background, a society where it's okay to communicate and talk? First of all, you know what I mean? Even in classroom settings, you got to raise your hand one at a time. Some of us used to get frustrated. You got a question right now. My questions would be so fluent, so rapid. It's like, hey, Teta Sherry, I remember being told that sometimes. Hey, just see me at the class. You know what I mean? But that maybe I just should have been in a different type of setting. That's all I'm saying. You don't never tell nobody they got too many questions. I don't care. I'm encouraging teachers, even going into this next school year. If you have a student like that, you don't make them feel like they asking you too much. Answer it. That's your job. You get paid to answer their questions. You don't know if they don't have nobody at home to answer their question, but you just told them to meet you after class, or you putting it off because you just think you're to teach what's in the curriculum. They might have a question about, you know, their body or what they ate last night or anything that has nothing to do with your curriculum. And when people, they say, well, I'm qualified, I'm educated to do this. Are you? Because, you know, classrooms are usually diverse these days. And everybody don't learn the same way. I'm not trying to make excuses for life. I'm just standing on my truth, you know. I really believe that everybody has not been trained or raised to communicate their emotions. Maybe some of us were taught, we just still choose. If a person frustrated, they frustrated. I feel like there's levels of frustration too. Period. Sorry, y'all. I had to take a pause break. We got to do that sometimes. I guess I'm going to cut it off here. This is one of those topics that I really could go for a minute. And I really am the right candidate to say, hey, thank you, young boy. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't have to be tough guys for us all the time, for the fans. Let us know that. Did y'all know I'm talented and everything? I had a whole injury when I was little. First of all, a whole head injury. He did. Listen to that man's testimony. Head injuries can lead to brain injuries, which can affect your whole, even if you're talented. And God done showed us so much. What's that one guy's name? He was in a wheelchair with the computer that talked for him. There's no restriction. The mind is just that great. It's that powerful. That's what his testimony showed us. Or think about Benjamin Button. All these different stories that the mind itself don't need no help. It really don't. All you can do is imitate that. Study the original mind. Like how it literally functions and controls everything on its own. No human being created the mind and the babies was born and everybody had a mind. That's crazy, bro. And it's like crazy to live amongst a time where people feel that invincible. Like, we're going to create minds. And maybe they feel like they're this powerful because anything you feel like you learn how to break down, like a car. Hey, I know how to take this apart and put it back together. It looks like they look very experienced in breaking the mind down, though. And I'm tired. Okay, we get that research. We get those studies. Okay, we get it. You know how to break a mind down. Wow, that's very, what? What do they want, some cookies? I don't think that's cute. Wow, so now you know how to break a mind down. Now show us. And they try to silence those that's trying to show y'all the mind can be built. Anything can be broke down. First of all, it was already assembled before. And if it can be broke down, it can be built back up. Let the voices of the people speak. Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Because, I know both sides. I know both sides are, feeling lost in the mind and feeling like I'm empowered when I want to. Yeah. For real. I can literally wake up today and show it, too, in the morning. Just get back on some business. Then you do that business. They say, wow, that's a beautiful idea. But you're trying to tell them, oh, I had that idea 5 years ago. I just put it into fruitation. Something like that. And that's why I say, is this a mockery of thorn they do be kind of showing us. Everybody wants to put that on their album cover all of a sudden. And on the pictures, yeah, I'm wearing a thorn of crowns too. Well, you better make sure you had it proof of real mind attacks against you, brother or sister, before you mock my Christ and Lord Savior Jesus Christ, because they really did put that on his head. But see, they were showing us what they were doing to him. Come on now, you had already beat this man to a bloody pulp. You just had to put the last finishing touch and put the cherry on top and make sure you put a crown of thorns above, so we never forget it. And maybe it was supposed to be this stained symbolism in our own minds that this is what can be done to us. See, what do I mean when I say they were already crowning him with thorns before they did that physically? They constantly, Jesus couldn't get a moment in peace. And I ain't talking about from the disciples and the people who actually needed his services and wanted him around. I'm talking about those who came to him with challenging questions every day. I'm going to call them challenging, but I'm going to explain why. If a person that already made it clear what they standing on, what their truth is, where they come from, what they doing here, they done said it 1,000,000 times. And then, so I'll use this one story. They came with the lady who they wanted to be accused of being the whore of the town. I don't know if it was Mary Magdalene. This was another lady. And I remember one of the last time I talked to a woman about it because I thought it was something so deep about this story. Okay? Because she said, I had never heard nobody put it like that, sweetie. I said, yeah, I think I got a revelation here. A little insight about something. How we know, first of all, them guards and soldiers that brought her to Jesus to see what his opinion was going to be about her. How do we know they was probably the one that sent the guy. Of course, they ain't gonna tell you, yep, now when we catch you in the act with this guy, because that's how the Bible described it. She was caught in the act. Caught in the act means you're caught actually doing something. So she was caught in the act, just having a good time with her body with another man. So they like, well, we're gonna take her, we're gonna arrest her and take her to the Messiah. They thought it would be funny. And these were the soldiers, like, let's say those in power at that time, like what we consider guards and police today. These were the ones who wanted to have the funny mind and challenge the authority of this man's mind. What he called himself, a Messiah. Okay. So they come with the lady. She's already in handcuffs. But what I said is, how do we not know that those same soldiers that brought her to Jesus that day weren't the same soldiers who set her up to be caught in the act? They say, well, why she couldn't have just been being a hoe? Even if she was, she was. But something deep in my spirit tells me those very guards, those Roman guards at the time, had set that up. They're still doing it today. Just study some of these old practice of punishment and stuff. Y'all will see what I'm talking about. Like, it's like they're still doing it, just through different forms. Because the weight of the kind of, like, what is it called? Like the consequences it have on people, like what it does to people does the same thing. They did that just to humiliate that woman. They didn't care about Jesus' teachings. Them Roman soldiers, otherwise they would have been following them and practicing them. They weren't his disciples. They were already creating that crown of thorns through some of their actions. So they brought the lady and they say, now you said you the Messiah, right? And he said, yeah. See, Jesus, he wasn't like me where he just get like aggravated and frustrated about it. I'm still kind of like that. Because I feel like enough knowledge has been put out here for people to not be playing the same games. But, I mean, if this is a special affair too, I have to understand that, and the more, that's why he tell us we got to die to our flesh. You really do. If you operating out of your flesh and just who you are without Christ, yeah, you're going to get mad. So, they brought her. Yeah, now you said you the Messiah, right? Jesus already knew what they was on when they asked their first question. Okay, and he said, yeah, I'm the Messiah. They say, well, what should we do with this woman? Jesus like, all right, I'm going to give him a second of my time. What did this woman do? And they was like, yeah, we just caught her in the act. Jesus wasn't even one of the guards or soldiers. He wasn't even a lawmaker or anything, according to their minds. He didn't have any special title or anything. He did to his people. So do you see the disrespect? Do y'all see the disrespect? They came with her just to challenge him. Not the woman. She's more just crying and feeling humiliated. They done drug her out the house. All she got is scraps and sheets on. Trying to get this man's opinion about her. So, yeah, that's that situation I'm telling y'all. Where Jesus looked at the woman. She's crying. She got her face in her hair is all messed up. She just been caught in the act. Being a woman. Doing what women do. Last I checked. Anyways, Jesus told him, he looked at him up and down and he said, brothers, whichever one of y'all have never sinned in your entire life. I know they said your law says that women's supposed to be stoned for this. She's married. Now, Jesus, what you got to say about this? So they came to challenge him. And he said, well, whichever one of y'all ain't never sinned. I just love God for that. Yeah, whichever one of y'all probably think, well, he just told him that to save that woman's life. No, they was telling him the truth. They was trying to use his own words against him. You said that, under the law, usually a woman commits adultery or fornicate. First of all, was her husband even any real husband? Like, why is she even cheating? Y'all, they be trying to play Jesus as a fool. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to tell y'all like this. I know y'all what you trying to tell me what the law said, and I did. It's in the Bible. People used to get stoned and everything. But now that I'm here, I'm the Messiah. This is what I said. You came to challenge me. I only speak the truth. Let whichever one of y'all have never sinned and looked upon the loins of a woman, you stone her first. A lot of them be married and still looking at other women. They call them wandering eyes back in the church days. Wandering eyes. Like, you can't help it. You got a handful of woman right next to you, but your eyes continue to feast and lust at everything else around you. Jesus knew their spirits. He knew them better than they knew themselves. What were their titles? What were their positions? What king do you work for? The last king y'all had tried to kill all the firstborn sons just so I wouldn't come into the world, type of deal. So these are my examples I'm giving how they did not just create the thorn crown on the cross, y'all. They were already creating that physically. I'm sorry, spiritually with their words. And they showed Jesus too later. Yeah, we want you stoned. We want you whipped. We want you humiliated. We want you openly persecuted. It's something about this old Roman Catholic culture, and also I don't know where it came from, but they number one favorite, and it's the devil, his number one favorite quote unquote punishment for people he don't like is public humiliation. And I have to come with this with a full head and heart of knowledge before I put emotion in it. That has been proven in history. Even Hitler, he could have did anything with those people. It seemed more like a public humiliation type of, probably one of the biggest rituals ever performed in the history of Germany. Because you wanted everybody to know what you was doing to them people. You know, them type of haters, that's a whole nother level of hater. They can't just do what they doing to you in secret. They want everybody to know they're doing it. You know, and it's bad. The hatred in your heart is bad when you want people to know it's you. You want people to, I said, what happened to the days you just, you did something in secret, you went on about your business. They don't do that no more. They want everybody to know they was involved, they did it. They the ones that took down Jesus Christ. Obviously, they want us to know. Why are you using the same methods on people today? Stop stoning them. Stop whipping them. Okay? They brought it back. They trying to say Willie Lynch deserves some type of accolades. No, he don't. Willie Lynch didn't come up with nothing new. I'm going to tell y'all why. Everything in the Willie Lynch letter had been done to the children of God before. And they talk, you know, it had to be some silly, stupid people like, oh my God, he just gave us a new way to. The name of his letter is called How to Make a Slave. What did I just say? If you can break down a mind, you can for surely build one up. So when we see these people going through breakdown or mental attacks, what do you think you should be doing? You either going to join and help stone them, or you're going to try to do your best to help keep that person's, help rebuild that person's confidence, help rebuild that person's mind. How else do you fight a ritual specifically designed to do the opposite? You do the opposite. That's it. It's called a counterpart or counter reaction. Every action has a reaction, period. They just be wanting to take actions and that be the end. That's not what God said I have to do. Your end is when I say your end is. Let them take whatever action they want to. They even challenge him. Talking about, you know, your law says this and that. They be trying to use God's own words against him. I don't use them against him. I stand on his word and, you know, remind him. It's a scripture that says, remind ye me. Like, yeah, you can remind me, not because God is forgetful, but it shows him in a way like you stand on my promises. You actually believe what I told you. So remind me of what I told you sometimes. I didn't forget what I told you. Imagine what that means to a father for his child to repeat something he told him before. If one of my daughters do it, you know, it would touch me. Like, hey, Mom, I remember that day you told me this. And this is what it did for me. Or, Mom, you promised me a blow dryer, so I'm holding you to your word. That's kind of how it is. I would never use his word against him. I'm more like, hey, God, now you remember you said I was going to be dripping in gold one day. I knew the people wouldn't believe it. I didn't even want to share the prophecy. I didn't want to share it with nobody. Because if they got to think I'm crazy right now, think I'm crazy. They thought Jeremiah was crazy, Noah was crazy, Jonah was crazy. I can go down the list. They even thought Mary was crazy. Jesus' own mother. See, it's a crown of thorn agenda that I'm here to shake a little bit. Just like, what? If these are not constant back-to-back blows and attacks at people's minds, and we can't stop people from going to work on secret experiments, seeing how they can break down the mind. And obviously, they've already learned how to. They got so many different ways now. Think about it. You can't go to like Target or Walmart and buy a mind. That's like really sick to think about. You can't go somewhere and buy that. They said the best things in life are FREE. You were born with a mind. Use it. Use it against the devil. The Bible says resist the devil and he will what? FLEE. He wants to make God's word not be true. I ain't seen it yet. He said if you resist anything, you resist. If you resist arrest, that's you saying, I ain't going. I don't want to be arrested. You resist eating, that's you saying, I don't want to eat. You resist the devil, you telling him, I don't want you around me. I don't want nothing you stand for penetrating my mind. You want me to go to sleep every night thinking about how many people you sacrifice. I can't say I could care less, but I could care less when it comes to my soul. You can't have mine. So I sleep not knowing, I don't sleep good knowing what all the devil do, but I sleep good knowing in my strong faith in Christ. I sleep good knowing what the devil rather see me doing, which is staying up, not getting no sleep. Now I actually been sleeping better knowing that the devil came to attack my rest recently. I swear I get better sleep right after that. Like, oh, this what you want? Let me plump these pillows a little more. This what you want, my rest? Let me sleep in the daytime then. This what you want? Let me sleep when they say I should be up and be up when they say I should be asleep. Because you just came to play with my rest when I was 100% resisting you. Right, so, but them, I was showing the difference. Like these Roman soldiers and stuff, they want to come and challenge him with his own words. They doing the same thing today. And I'm sorry, anything that's like cycle, pattern, like, you can't beat me at being able to spot out a pattern. You want to keep something going longer, switch it up. Nobody likes a boring old pattern. Nobody. Unless it's a pattern that brings in great proceeds for others. Cycles that bring in proceeds for others. I never understood that. They know how to break down. Well, this is a cycle. That's a cycle. Okay. Well, if it's a healthy cycle, leave it alone. The plant always only needed water and sunlight. Nobody asked y'all to add anything extra to it. It does what it does on its own. Just like the mind. It's supposed to expound, you know. The mind needs rest too. That's another thing. You know what I mean? And the devil know that. Like, you cannot operate from your highest version of mind and you're walking around tired, zombie-like all the time. You know, everybody not like the newer generation though, like I said, it's like it's almost like we've grown to learn how to coexist with our crown of thorns. You can't just put us to sleep with that no more. Like, we know what it feel like, we move past it. And we still do what we have to do through it, you know. Thank you, Dreamy Poo. How many of y'all are up still out there with me? See, people got to go to work, but I come on here and do it late, at the times that I'm able to sacrifice and give these. That's the thing. I'm going to leave y'all with this one thing the Bible say. Do y'all know the Bible say obedience is better than sacrifice? And it was written long before I was born. No, go in there with your sister. Come on. Why you got to be bad while I'm live? Huh?
What do you do?
Tell everybody hi. Say hi.
Hi. Hi.
Hi, y'all.
Hi, me.
Say thanks for listening to my mama.
Thank you, Mommy. Mom, Dream.
Oh, her name is Dream. That's right.
What's my mommy?
And this is her mom. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Mommy.
Today we're going to talk about Jesus.
Oh.
Mwah. Where I left off? Yeah.
Top.
Go get it. Bring it here. I left off saying, before my 2-year-old came here interrupting me, I left off saying that obedience is better than sacrifice. I wish Morgan could Google the scripture right now for me, but I'll leave it in the comments. And that's the scripture of the week. Because as long as you remember that,
Mommy.
and actually we talked about earlier knowledge versus applied knowledge. Hi, boo-boo.
Hi, Mommy.
Is two different things. Applied knowledge shows. Knowledge is just knowledge. Like, oh, I just obtained this to get where I'm at. Okay, but where are you applying it? You see? But this one I have applied, and it said obedience is better than sacrifice, and you got people trying to compete with you with the highest sacrifice, like you obeying. That's crazy. It shows we have more people who just they don't want to obey nothing. They're rebellious. We live in a very stiff-necked, rebellious generation. You know what I mean? When he said, all you got to do is obey. I'll give you all. I know the devil told Jesus that, but Jesus means it when he says it. Put me first, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things shall be added unto you. All these things is whatever those things are that you... I mean, come on, man. We ain't got to sacrifice this and that and that and that every day. The greatest sacrificial thing you can give to God Almighty is your obedience. Him saying, hug that lady. Save $10 in your bank account this week. Hug your daughter more. And literally, I'll just be listening, doing all I can to do to obey. It's things I've obeyed God 10 years ago about that he ain't forgot about. You can't pay me to believe it. He the one reminded me. I'd be like, God, I don't know why I'm getting all this grace and mercy out here where I'm at. Like, I remember when you was out there where you was and you were obeying me. I'm sorry. What, give people an example? My word says pray without ceasing. My child, I saw you. You prayed through every discomfort. You prayed through every heartache. You prayed through every pain. And nobody was forcing you to. You just simply obeyed. So I don't care how many duck heads, goat heads, birds and stuff they burn and try to sacrifice in your stead to receive this and that. It's just not going to work. They didn't know that you were in secret being obedient, actually doing what my word says do. But he already know our enemies better than us. That's what they do. Use your words against you. You know what I'm saying? So you might as well speak the truth, if you ask me. And the truth said obedience is better than sacrifice. But you still got all these groups of people coming together, telling people lies that if they sacrifice all this, they can have the whole world. They probably can. If hell was what they was trying to get, then you got the whole world. Y'all don't know what them people being secret going through. That's why I was listening to the young man's testimony. We don't know what all comes with that. You see what I'm saying? It's been times that I had people jealous of me over certain blessings, but if they would have let me speak about my experience with that blessing, I would have told them, well, that right there, you thought you was jealous of, that blessing right there, I even learned that wasn't a blessing. That was a whole roadblock for me, but if it's a blessing to you, then so be it. Right? They don't even let you get that far. They already jealous. You know what I mean? Like, already trying to throw a stone at the blessing. It's like, here, I would have gave it to you. I know somebody blessed me with these size 8 pair of Adidas, but they was tight on my toes. But you didn't know. That was my first day wearing them. You didn't know that I would have gave you the shoes or something like that. I was trying to give an example like that because I was going to give a more real example, but maybe it is time. You know what I'm saying? Just watch who you hating on. You don't know what they going through, what comes with their breakthrough. You just wanted to break through before they did. But I was okay with that too. Like, the word will just help you get through stuff. Like, he said the last will be first, the first will be last. Why would I try to fight God's word? I said, okay, well, I can be last for a while. Anybody can say that, but I'm telling you, they the one said that actions speak louder than words. You know what I mean? And it's like, if you truly believe the last will be first and the first will be last, what is there to worry about? Why you last? What is there to worry about? What is there to be concerned? You believe God's word or you don't. That's just a point I'm getting to. You know. That obedience is better than sacrifice does need to be a divine message I bring here in the near future with what I see going on across the globe today. Because I'm here to edify the most I can. The Bible speaks about the 11th hour. The 11th hour is described as the very last moment before something. You could have knew your homework was done, was due 2 days ago, but you didn't start working on it till the 11th hour. That would just mean at the last minute. But God's grace and mercy and love is so real that even at the last minute, souls are going to be redeemed. Literally, in the last moments of the earth, I believe it. Of the earth's existence, really. I believe that earth has been through so many transformations. That's why there are other towns and cities and communities under the ground, fossils, that show us this. Like, maybe those were the civilizations who didn't get it right either. But why would you keep finding layers of, what seems to be once built and successful civilizations under the ground? Why would we keep seeing it if everybody had it so right every time? That's just where I'm at. You know what I mean? I could easily follow through a pattern of beliefs, or I can look at what seems real to me. Like how many times, what all has the earth been through? You dig deeper, you find another civilization. You go deeper in the ocean, you find another civilization. You go past the ice, you find another civilization. Like, how many civilizations came here and got it wrong because they didn't want to believe this one text, that obedience is better than sacrifice? Why are we sacrificing so much? Why do people believe they have to do that? You know what I mean? And then when we talk about obedience, obeying who? Anyways, just some of the questions that started my very own divine walk or path, you know what I'm saying? To lead me somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? And they can look at that physically. They feel like, oh, well, if we know where she is, we know where her mind is. And that's crazy. I'm not going to complain no more. I like the way that God has it right now, because I actually don't agree with it. A person can be in a palace and still have a hood mentality. A person could be in a hood and have a palace mentality. That's what I believe. How did you know on a person's address, you know them better? How are you finding ancient civilizations under the ground, but you can't explain why they're under there, but we are supposed to ban the Bible where it says God flooded the earth before? You know what I'm saying? And I mean, if they want to keep repeating the same cycles, man, all I can do is sit back and be a witness. But I was saying that's more like thorn or crownish to sit there and force somebody into your narrative. I say, let's see where it goes. You know what I'm saying? Everything destined to be what it is at certain divine times was going to be that anyway. God does this other thing here I find special too. He'll reveal himself to people in different ways, right? And he'll show people themselves in future situations or past situations, because you know it could have been your ancestors or somebody before you. And it never dawns on people like why they saw themselves a certain way until something is unfolding. I don't want to be one of those people anymore. You know what I mean? If God showed me something, and it's been many days, like here even lately, here even recently, like where I'm like, I cannot deny it anymore. Like, God, you are that. You are the truth. Because had I not seen the truth before certain things happen, and I'm talking about long before I even was seeking counsel from anybody about anything, I just felt like God was showing me things. But you don't want to wait to those moments all the time in your life to be like, oh my God, this is what I was seeing. That's crazy. If anything, I've been more practicing believing in what I see the first time. They call it our first mind too. Our first mind. And for anybody who was wondering what my definition of intuition is, it's that, what was that first feeling, that first thought I had about that when I saw that day? When I saw that man look at me up and down, what was my first mind? When that man first approached me, what was I thinking at first? You see what I'm saying? Not 2 years later saying, I knew they could have been that. You know what I'm saying? That's all it was. And they still threw stones. No matter what, I'm going to have a powerful testimony. No matter what community I came in, they first thing, if you wasn't with their agenda, here came the stones. At this point, I feel like I got a turtle shell, and I'm thankful to God for it. Like, I pop in and out at will. That's the gift of the turtle's life, though, you know. I know they've been studied and stuff, too. Like, just, they're born that way, literally, with a hard shell. They're born with these protective defenses on them. As for the porcupine and the skunk and many other animals. Now, why wouldn't a human be born with some type of defense mechanism? Literally, like the possum, I like to use that for an example because them things only get sharp when they feel threatened. I read the same thing about the skunk. It only sprays when it feels threatened. It's a defense mechanism. You see? And if nature has this, if nature can do this, just, you know, was created with natural defense mechanisms, why wouldn't we have it? And then as soon as it pop up like a porcupine, you got to be an alien or something crazy. You know what I'm saying? I just look at that as a stone. They just use them. They use their words as the stones today. That's all. As far as the throwing of crowns, I say they use mental attacks. That's what that is. If I'm attacking your crown, I was just wondering where is the crown? You know what I mean? You're just gonna keep attacking it. Well, we must have did something wrong here and there and there and there. No, why are you even attacking that person's crown? Why? They said that a woman's hair is her glory in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? So you got some religions and practices that I totally understand why they are more sensitive about the hair of a woman. Even me and my daughter were talking about it last night, how I have learned here recently through some research that hair also on a scientific level carries energy and memories, okay? Some of these skeletons they dig up, they still have hair, especially in Egypt. They still have hair. And until that's explained to me, I don't know. You know, how do these dead cells, how is the hair still intact? You know, whatever practice or method they were using, but the hair does carry memories and energy. And that's why they want us to be careful as women buying all these wigs and lace fronts and hair. You don't know where they came from. Even they be like, this all right, it came from a horse. Well, what did that horse have to endure? You don't know what that horse been through, but you got it all in your head. Anyways, at least I'm thinking about it more. That's a start. The thought is the gateway. I believe we're all creating realities and portals and perceptions through thought. Not just some of us, all of us. Because why else do they need to control everybody's mind so bad? It's crazy. And it happens when we're in one mind, when we all just get on the same frequency. It's not, it's something dangerous. It looks like they never want us to find out about. The whole world on one frequency. Because I'm going to leave us with this. The Bible also says, if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and turn from their wicked ways. If it were so to happen, is what God was saying. If it just so happens to miraculously happen, I will heal their land. The earth ain't got to go through no turmoil. They know exactly why it's. And then it's like the devil rather see it all destroyed than to see that. Than to see God heal the land. He literally would rather everybody just go to war, battle, and beef and take each other's heads off. And he the type to just sit back and watch it while it's happening. But I'm not the devil. I'm out here trying to speak up as I'm seeing it happen. You know what I mean? Like, they be like, be quiet. It's nothing you can do. One voice, one word can do a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? It's funny you telling me out of all the things. Like, young boy had head attacks. I had throat attacks. Voice attacks. All I'm trying to say is been more than once in my life that I've had to go see a doctor, and I'm talking about since a young age, like literally about my neck or about my throat or about strep throat. Like, I just said after that last surgery I had when they took the tonsils out, it's never happened again. I don't get strep throat like that. That's how I know if something like that pop up, something else going on. Anyways, thank you, God, for making me peculiarly me. You know what I mean? Like, you have these stories to go back and reference to. If another girl, okay, because it was this story in the Bible. Y'all know they say King Solomon was like the wisest king. To this day, he's just, that's what he'll always be known for, like his wisdom. Two women came into court one day and they were fighting over a baby, and they both said it was their baby. Like, this ain't nothing but people who know the Bible real well playing a game, bro. Like, they're trying to repeat scenarios, but since they want to play their game, I can break it down. Like, hey, I've read this story too, and this seems a little similar sometimes. You feel me? These two ladies came in there. So, of course, one of the ladies, it really was her baby. The other one was just trying to, what they call today, clone and act like she was the other woman, and that was her baby. So they said, this is a situation even the soldiers and guards didn't know what to do. They said, we're going to bring this to King Solomon. So they brought it to King Solomon. And after King Solomon heard both of the ladies bickering over the baby and everything, he said, both of y'all be quiet. I'm finna find out who baby this is. So now everybody's very attentive and they're paying attention. Everybody in the courtroom. Because they like, how King Solomon gonna find out? You know, they really didn't have probably blood tests and stuff like that back then. So how was they gonna know? King Solomon says one phrase. He said, split the baby in half. Since they want to argue over it, split the baby in half. Get that sword, cut this baby in the middle, give her the bottom half, give her the top half. And out of nowhere, a blood-curdling scream happened. One of the ladies screamed and said, no, don't cut the baby. Just let her have her. Just let her have a baby. And then to King Solomon, he had just discovered whose baby it was. And it was just so powerful to people. Like, man, I wouldn't have thought to do that. But see, he said that one that was just like, no, she could just have it. Like, he said it was her baby because her love cried out like that. Like, no, I just rather her cut the baby. And he was saying the woman said that. That's how he found out who baby it was. Here, come on, mama. I got some yogurt. You like yogurt? I know my listeners like, what's she doing still up? She just be up with her mom. Actually, today we slept a lot, so I knew it was going to be like this tonight. She slept with me too. She slept. We took about 3 naps. Whatever, we're surviving and going through. We took like, you want some grapes? Okay. I thought you wanted yogurt. Don't slam that refrigerator like that, boom. Hey. But yeah, I thought that was powerful. Like, that's how he found out who baby was. The selfish one, she was just quiet. When the man said he was gonna cut the baby down the middle, she was just quiet, like, oh, okay. She had rather seen that baby lose it than to see the woman whose baby it really was get it. It's very, people should read those stories. Y'all be thinking y'all going through new things, that they was going through things in the Bible days, stealing people kids and trying to persecute people, had them stoned. Like I said about that lady, that they try to tell Jesus was a hoe. I wish I had been there, cause like, Jesus, how we know them soldiers didn't set her up to begin with? They the ones sent the man. They had him at the right place, the right time, set her up. He probably told. Imagine just having a time of intimacy with a man, and the soldiers bust in the door talking about, you're arrested, and she thought she was going to jail. They stopped by Jesus. Thank God they did, though, because they really was just going to take her to jail and have her stoned because they claimed she was committing adultery. Thank God they stopped by Jesus first to see what his counsel was about it, because whatever he told those brothers, they let her go. He said, whichever one of y'all ain't did nothing, throw the first stone. Means when y'all get there to stone her, throw the first stone. That's how deep he went with them. You throw the first one if you ain't ever did nothing. And he was talking to police soldiers. Period. All they're doing is keep recreating a narrative here. All right, since they want to keep creating cycles, let's look at this cycle. The devil obviously likes to use soldiers and police and pretty much law enforcers against the people of God, because I don't know. Even Jesus died at the hands of soldiers. You see what I'm saying? Like police people. The man who was over those police had even told him, let Jesus go. He said, I wash my hands with this. I don't have a problem with, his name was Pilate. He said, I don't have a problem with him. That's y'all. I said, let him go. So that was the order that was written, but they still stepped outside of their authority of jurisdiction and said, well, we're going to persecute Jesus anyway. It's crazy. I was just wondering, I never asked, but I was wondering why Pilate didn't step in and like do more. Like, didn't I tell y'all don't kill Jesus? Like, really, he washed his hands with it. Maybe it was more of them than him. Even some of Pilate's own family was mad at him, like, you don't see why they don't like Jesus? And he was the king. See, I just feel like if people in power would stand up, it was never your job to let people influence you. Your job is to enforce that power and do it equally and civilly. That's it. You shouldn't be at home being influenced by your wife just because you're an officer. Let her encourage you, fix your lunch, whatever. She's your wife. That's her role in your life, not I think you should go arrest that lady in building B because I'm your wife. You know how many women in the Bible use their men to do stuff like that too? I say, God, don't send me one until, I am ready. Now that I think about it like that, because I wouldn't want to be with a man of influence just to get my way all the time. Clearly, that's not why God puts a woman with a man like that. Not in my eyes. You know what I mean? What was the one that had John the Baptist's head cut off? Just keep up with me, y'all. I'm making a whole point here. Yeah, all she had to do was a belly dance. And the man was so overtaken by her dance and her body and the sweat and the way it was dripping off. He say, well, what, anything you want, because you just pleased me with this dance. That's not even sex. Like, she just danced. And out of all the things she could have said, she said she wanted the head of John the Baptist. And though that's a touchy story right there, I feel like even her, she was sent. That's why they got the best dancer. And they had already prepared what to tell her to ask for after he liked the dance. So that's all I can say about that. Like, why I stand alone already. If God give me some type of authority, power, influence, why would I want it? it's no longer my influence if I'm being influenced. That's crazy. How am I a leader? How am I a leader? If I had a talk with my girls before already, I said, I talk to y'all a lot about y'all behavior because you never know what direction in life, your mom wanted to take. Just because somebody have kids do not mean they have to, now some parents do. They sacrifice them. I've heard all kind of stories. They sacrifice what they were doing in life just to take care of their kids, and they pick back up on their career or whatever it was after the kids are older. I'm telling everybody publicly, I could have very well been one of those mothers. You don't have to see me out here doing anything because I have small children. But that's not how I was divinely guided about it. Like, oh, you have to stop writing and stop putting your skills and talents in the environment, in the air, just because you have children. God never told me that. Here, baby. Where are the grapes I just gave you? Here, take it. Now, you got about 20 grapes on that vine. Put it in your bowl. Yeah, that's where you have trouble in the count. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm late, but maybe I'm late. People have been recognized that, like, they feel like the people in power are not the ones really in power or whatever. But that's a constant pattern and cycle that's old at this point. Like, how are you the civil servant, but you're being influenced? I feel like that's very well what happened to Jesus too. He actually had more people that was for Jesus being here than those that wanted him persecuted. I bet the ones wanted him persecuted started with a group of 3, a group of 5 or 10. It wasn't even no big crowd. It's just that when you have that many in powerful positions being influenced by people that don't even have the power they have, that's a problem. I just want you to do something because I know you and I know your influence. And then that's where bribes come in and all this stupid stuff, because anyways, I think I've said what I need to say tonight. You have all these cycle patterns of old corporal punishments happening to people in a new day. Like they're using the same system. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll be back with another insightful topic soon. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Share this stream to show your support. I will be advertising and promoting more You Will Make It TV t-shirts this week. So make sure that you do subscribe so you're able to see that in my community board section. And until next time, guys, we love you. Y'all have a good night out there. Happy Thursday to the world. And we'll be back with another insightful topic soon. Please don't forget to go to my shorts commentary section as well, where you can pick up on inspirational daily and weekly quotes. Okay? We love you guys. Have a